All right, so let's talk about Smackdown, ladies and gents. Okay, sorry, babe. I don't want to miss it. And then we're gonna talk about King and Queen of the Ring, and then we're gonna end this and let y'all go ahead and go to bed. Okay. So let's start off with the first match that we saw. We saw Nia Jax and Bianca Belair compete. It was actually a pretty decent match. Shout out to everybody coming in. Hello, hello, hello. It was actually a pretty decent match between the two women, despite Bianca Belair not being 100%. Despite her being at probably 10% less than her normal, Spitfire self, she was still able to hold Nia Jax on her shoulders, lift her up, and throw her around, which is not an easy feat. Nia Jax, although she's a beautiful woman, she still has some weight on her. So a lot of people have a difficult time competing against her because they cannot match her power for power. Whereas Bianca Belair and women like Jade, they have an easier time, not the easiest, just a easier time competing against, Nia Jax. With all that being said, despite Nia Jax having a bit of competition against Bianca, Bianca's injury is what ultimately cost her this match and the opportunity to go to Queen of the Ring and actually win and become the queen and then go on to main event or, you know, dual main event SummerSlam this year. If you didn't know, earlier this week, Triple H announced that whoever wins the King and Queen of the Ring will have a guaranteed shot at their respective brands champion at SummerSlam. So since Nia Jax is a SmackDown superstar today, and as of right now, she will compete against whoever is champion when SummerSlam comes around on August 3rd. And more than likely, I would put money on the fact that she's going to become the next champion for SmackDown in terms of the women. That's going to be a rough 6 to 8 months, okay? It's going to be rough out here. Anywhoosies, we got a couple of filler matches in between there. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller hosted the Grayson Waller Effect, to which they were having LA Knight as a guest, but Carmelo Hayes ended up coming out instead. Carmelo Hayes came out and they decided to have their little let's shit on the veterans moment. And that's when LA Knight came out and shut all that down. Essentially, what he says is you keep poking the bear, and he said, you keep poking at the dog is gonna bite. And this led to a full-on attack by Grayson Waller, and of course, not Grayson Waller, but Carmelo Hayes. And this also allowed Grayson and Austin Theory to join in. Now, all of the men were beating him up, and that's when the Street Profits came out to help. And they kind of evened the score a bit. If you don't know, okay, Carmelo Hayes has not been exactly well liked in the locker room, in the back, kayfabe wise. He's been having a little bit of trouble, maintaining his, footing in WWE on the main roster. And instead of him doing everything that he can in order to maintain himself and, push the boundaries but not poke the bear, he's been poking the bear, constantly going after veterans and essentially just rubbing people the wrong way. For whatever reason, he seems to believe that he's somehow superior to everyone else because of his drafting status and the things that he's done before he came to the main roster. And he feels that if he makes a name for himself off of somebody else or puts somebody else in their place, he somehow has proven his superiority. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory also have this type of mentality where there's no respect for the veterans and they seem to disregard what the veterans have to say or can say in order to help them or just to give them sound advice, period. Now, having said that, Montez Ford went on the bump recently and made it very clear that he wasn't a big fan of Carmelo Hayes or his antics, and that he didn't like the disrespect that Carmelo Hayes gave to Bobby Lashley. So this was their way of showing Carmelo that you ain't gonna disrespect our leader like that. They came out there and even the odds with LA Knight, and it became a six-man tag team match between the champs and Hayes, LA Knight, and the Street Profits, and B-Fab was in their corner. They did exceptionally well in this match. I actually really liked it, and ultimately the Street Profits and LA Knight picked up the W. Okay. Later on in the back, the back there talking to the backstage correspondent because I can't remember if it was Kayla or if it was Kathy. I don't remember. But they were talking to one of them and they were talking about opportunities at the championship, to which DIY came out and essentially made it very clear that they were going to have to wait in line or they were going to put them in their place. Taking Montez Ford's cup from him and pouring out his drink was a sign of disrespect. So I imagine that the Street Profits and DIY are going to meet very soon, more than likely next week or the week after next, to determine who's going to be the number one contender for Austin Theory and Grayson Waller's championships. Okay. So moving on from there, we saw a couple of vignettes backstage. There was another vignette with AJ Styles that was later on in the show, but it's what's sticking out in my mind right now. AJ Styles went to Nick Aldis and essentially told him he needed another opportunity. He just needed one more shot at Cody Rhodes for that championship. He just needed a chance and he could prove that he can hang with the best of them still. And Nick Aldis was like, on a personal level, if you're asking me to do this, I would do it 100% hands down. But on a professional level, I can't give you that opportunity. Opportunities like this have to be earned. And while I am sure that if you were given the opportunity that you could earn it, it's going to be a while before you get that opportunity again. And so he told him that he didn't have time. He said, I don't have time to wait for an opportunity. And Nick Aldis basically was like, well, I'm sorry. I can't help you. AJ seemed to look very defeated. So I don't know where they're going with this particular storyline, but they're going somewhere. Not sure where, but they're going somewhere. Now, moving on, we also saw a small vignette backstage between Pauline, Tama Tonga, and of course, Solo, the current acting tribal chief of the new bloodline. And Pauline essentially was like, the people you have brought into the bloodline are dangerous. The reason why Tongaloa isn't here is because he couldn't get past customs. His background check wouldn't allow him to get past customs. He said, this is not okay. We are in a very vulnerable spot here. And of course, Solo was just like, whatever the problem is, Pauline, you're supposed to be fixing it. You're my wise man. And until Roman returns, I am in charge. I'm the guy. You answer to me. And the way I see it, the people I've brought in are dangerous, and that's what we need. I know exactly who I've surrounded myself with. I know exactly what I'm doing. He tried to tell him about Tama Tonga, and Tama Tonga said, wait a minute, what about me? I'm one of the most dangerous men in this company, if not the most dangerous man. That is why I am here. And it was all done by orders of the tribal chief. So Pauline left it where it was. And he decided that I'm going to wash my hands of it. Now, we also saw first, Tiffany Stratton decided to throw a little dig at Bianca Belair for losing her match against Nia Jax, which was interesting, seeing as how she lost as well. Didn't even make it out of the quarterfinals, I think it is, or before the quarterfinals. You didn't even make it out of the quarterfinals, babe. Let's relax on the whole you're a loser, because if that's the case, so are you. Hard titty time is always on some motherfucking bullshit. But anyway, she wasn't the only one that decided to throw a little dig at Bianca Belair. You see, Cornish Pixie, Candice LeRae, and her giant Indy Hartwell decided to come in and cause more havoc on Bianca, saying she should have just quit after she injured her knee. It's interesting because Cornish Pixie couldn't get the job done, but she want to come in and dig at the girl for having her knee messed up. And let's put this into perspective. If I'm a wrestler and I wrestle you and I injure you, are you gonna put? I'm putting you out to pasture. I'm not going to make it so you get a minor injury and you can continue to wrestle all the way to damn near to the end. Now, why the hell would I do that? If you're going to do an injury, and this is all kayfabe, mind you, because some of y'all are a little touched. So I want to make sure y'all understand. This is all kayfabe conversation. If your intent is to injure someone because one, you can't beat them straight up, and two, you on some coward ass bullshit. But if your intent is to injure, why are you injuring only for a minute moment? Cornish Pixie, shut your ass up, okay? You know what's interesting is that you couldn't get the job done in the tournament, nor could you get the job done by taking her out. That is not a flex, honey. That's just sad. That is sad and disappointing. And you had a homegirl on the outside that could have helped you, and she didn't give you no help. It was 2 against 1, and you still lost. You should be ashamed. You should be somewhere hiding your head, Beetlejuice. Not sitting your ass up in here complaining, and going up there bullying somebody because you added a minor injury to her knee. Congratulations, Cornish Pixie. You tapped on her knee for 5 minutes. And the girl was able to make it all the way to the semifinals of the Queen of the Ring tournament. What did you do to cause her any infraction besides losing to Nia Jax? You couldn't even make it past her. What your ass need to be doing is coming up with a plan so you can get them tag team titles from her. Not worrying about what you did to her knee in tournaments. Okay? Because if you was about that life, you would have attacked that bitch right while she was sitting there and then ran when Jade came. But you're not about that life, Cornish Pixie. So I suggest you shut your ass up. Shut your ass up. Because it's not giving what you thought you had gave. Now, as she was being tormented by Candace and her giant Indy Hartwell, that's when a real bitch came up, Jade Cargill. She was like, I heard you hoes was talking shit. I know y'all not over here coming over here with my girl. I know y'all not over here coming over here with my girl. And then Indy had to sit on her tippy toes. And I was like, yeah, bitch, step your weight up. Because you ain't tall enough to ride the ride. You not tall enough. So, girl, she was like, I think they want their wig split. Let me go talk to Nick right quick. So more than likely next week is going to be Jade Cargill, probably versus Indy Hartwell, because I know Candice LeRae definitely don't want none of that woman. All right. So we're going to wait and see how that all plays out as well. Okay. Now, look. Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul decided to come out there and have a little chit chat in front of the Jetta crowd. Now, Cody Rhodes, he did his normal spew, but before he could even talk, Logan Paul came out there. Now, Logan came out there and was talking all his mess and basically was like, I done gave my knuckles away and I don't have no reason to fight with them knuckles. I'm going into this match fair and square. I ain't got no knuckles on me. Cody said, oh, yeah? You a man of your word. You ain't got no knuckles? Okay, ref, come here, baby. Go ahead and check. Let's check. He was like, no, check Cody first. Check Cody first. Cody said, you check me? Check me. Come on with it. Cody got checked. Cody was clean. Go and check Mr. Logan Paul Prime over here. Him had the brass knuckles in one of his pockets of his cargo pants. I said, God damn. You could at least hid it underneath the pants in your socks or something, or put it in your shoe, in the boot. Like, you put it in the most obvious place. He's such a weirdo. Girl, he got out the ring all huffy and puffy because Cody Rhodes was telling him that while he may think he's a WWE superstar and a wrestler, he said you can have all of those monikers, you can have all of those things. But the problem and the difference between you and I is that you just like doing this because it adds and feeds to your ego. It boosts you. It makes you feel good that you got to conquer a new quest. Whereas for me, being WWE champion is my whole life. This means everything to me. So he said, as long as I'm here and as long as I'm taking over, your ass will never be WWE champion. You will never take my spot and you will never be as good as me. Ever. Now, it looked like Logan was about to start crying. I was like, oh, poor Logan, don't cry. Don't cry, Logan. It's okay. Your mommy and daddy still love you. At least I hope. You never know. Child, he ate his ass up for 2 weeks in a row. Every week, Logan Paul is getting toe up on the microphone in the most easiest of ways, y'all. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call, so I gotta take a quick break. Hold tight. Still don't know my words, still stressing perfection. Let you all in my mental, got me looking too desperate. Damn, you ain't deserve. Honestly, that sound like a fair trade to me. Okay, so Logan Paul and Cody, they're gonna have a little match, and everybody's gonna be happy. Happy as home, happy as house. Okay. Now, Bailey had a match today with Chelsea Green. Okay, and while Chelsea, is a formidable opponent, which she proved today when she went up against Bailey, they actually had a very decent match. Bailey ran into Nia Jax on her way out, and Nia was like, "Well, Bailey, did you hear what our fearless leader Trip said about me winning the Queen of the Ring? I'm going to be going to SummerSlam, and if you're still champ, I'm going to be taking your title from you. And not only will I be called the Queen, I'll also be the champ." And I was like, Nia, be careful, because there's another woman who calls herself the Queen, and she hasn't been back yet. But when she does, you're going to have problems. Anyways, Bailey seemed a little concerned because she is not the biggest fan of Nia Jax in terms of wanting to wrestle her. So she went out for her match against Chelsea. She beat Chelsea, and then she was attacked by the next biggest person on the roster in Piper Niven. Piper Niven hit Bailey with not 1, 2, or 3 sentons. She hit her with 4 simultaneously. And Chelsea was aiding and abetting the shit. Piper beat the brakes off of Bailey. Even though Bailey tried to defend herself, Piper beat the brakes off of her. Now, my mind is telling me that Piper is going to be the next challenger heading into Clash at the Castle, which is fine. We love that. Oh, and just so you know, a little foreshadowing. Triple H is very strategic about how he foreshadows possible matches and meetups, okay? So think about it this way. When you see them crossing paths, just in passing, it's just little stuff where they're just face to face. They're not really wrestling, they're just face to face. Take note of that. Keep a mental note because you're gonna have to come back to it because they're gonna end up. It happened with Liv and Becky. Okay, it happened with um Cody and Seth at well, not Cody and Seth, but Cody and Roman at one point. That foreshadowing is a very big trope for Triple H. Okay, now what we got in terms of foreshadowing in this one was Cody Rhodes going up against Randall Orton. Okay, that foreshadowing was set in stone today. Randy came across Cody. They had a little combo, little back and forth. It was a little tiny one, shaking of the hands and shit. And then he was gone. I'm like, I see what's going on here. I know exactly what's going on here. Not only that, but again, the foreshadowing between Bailey and Piper that happened a week or so ago when Piper ran up on Bailey before. My pillows ready? Yeah, they ready. Thank you. I'll put them in there in a minute. Let me sit them back here. You washed the blanket too? Or is it still drying?
I haven't got it in the machine yet, but it's out there to get washed.
Oh, okay. So, like I said, Triple H foreshadows everything or potential meetups between people. That always happens. He did it with Sammy and Gunther before Sammy ended up being Gunther's opponent at WrestleMania. It's one of his things, honey. Okay. With all that being said, the foreshadowing between Bailey and Nia Jax also happened, which I just explained. So we had a lot of foreshadowing. Also, you got the confrontation between DIY and Street Profits. Again, he's setting it up. Prior to this, I think it was last week or the week before last, you had the little in passing between Logan Paul and LA Knight. They're going to go back to that after they come back from Jeddah and they end up going either into SummerSlam around that time when they might do it. I'm not sure, but I guarantee you that they're going to circle back to that shit by the time we go into the next PLE or Money in the Bank. He's probably going to end up going up against LA Knight and dropping that title. But let's get into the final match tonight, and then we're going into the Saudi shirt, okay? So, final match of the night was between Tama Tonga and Randall Orton, okay? Now, Randy and Tama obviously have a past history. And in this match, it was just a lot of animosity going on between these two men. Tama did show some promise in this match against Randy. He was vicious, he was targeting, and he was violent. It started off through him. He took off his shirt and immediately went after Randy Orton. He's very fast in the ring. If you are not paying attention, you can easily get caught up with him. The amount of speed that man has in the way that he moves is scary. It's scary. But he was taking Randy out. It was a lot going on in that match. And once he remembered that Randy's knee was injured, all hell broke loose because he was going on a full-on attack on this man's knee throughout this match. That was a never-ending attack. It didn't end until Tama was laid out. Now, eventually, Tama Tonga got caught with the RKO, and that was the end of that. But they all attacked Randy, and Kevin came out for the save finally. Kevin was there and was able to even the odds and help Randy out. But not only was Kevin, Randy a little leery of Tama, but he's got a massive, God bless you, he's got a massive opponent in Gunther tomorrow against, for the King of the Ring tournament. Now, I'm going to say this. For the last couple of months, matter of fact, right after Gunther lost his championship to Sami Zayn, every opponent that he has gone up against has suffered some injury either during the match or prior to their matches with him. And he targets that injury and ends up winning every single match. Now, while Gunther doesn't need to win his matches that way, and I'm well aware of that, I don't know, it just struck me as odd that's how he's been winning his matches. That really irritated me. I didn't like it. I'm like, why are they doing that to him? Like, let him just be a beast like he always has been. Why are they doing all this extra bullshit? But of course, Gunther is overly confident, as he should be, given the fact that Triple H keeps giving him everything. He pretty much, it doesn't matter what Gunther goes after, he's gonna get it 110%. Like, I don't know any other way to put it other than, if you are looking at it, you more than likely are gonna have Gunther going up against whoever. He's gonna be your next champion by SummerSlam. I put money on that he's gonna be the champion going into, after SummerSlam is over. He's gonna be your new champion, and going into Bash at Berlin, he's gonna be the champ. He's going to be the champ. So yeah, it's a lot going on, y'all. It's a lot going on. But the show was pretty solid. I will say that. So that was it. That was Smackdowneth for today. She said, how come when Cody roasts someone, he does it with class? Because it could not be me. I agree with Aaliyah. He is a little nice nasty with it. I mean, if you really think about it, he could easily hurt people's feelings. If I was them, my feelings would be hurt. If I was Logan Paul, I would feel like you really don't respect me. Which, I mean, Logan kind of did that to himself. It's the way he carried himself, and I think if he would carry himself with a little bit more humility, I don't think people would have the same issue with him that they have. He just acts like he owns the world, and I know a lot of people like that about him. Most of us don't, or at least I don't. I can't speak for nobody else. I like my people to at least have some respect for the game. If you ain't got no respect for the game, then I ain't got no respect for you. Period. You know what I'm saying? But since the King and Queen of the Ring is tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's 12 p.m. for the kickoff. Let's talk about it. Let's get into the show, because they have added 3 more matches. Okay. Starting off with the kickoff of the show. The Saudi show is over in Jeddah, and the reason, which is what I've been telling people, because everybody thought that I was crazy. They was like, no, they not on the card. The reason why Bianca and Jay were advertised for the King and Queen of the Ring is because they have a match. They are going to be going up against Candice and Indy of the Way, formerly of the Way. And I don't know if this is a tag team title match or if they're just going to be competing against Candice and Indy. Now, it could very well be a tag team title match. I'm not sure. But they're going to be competing in a tag team match. This is going to be on the kickoff show. Okay. Now, this says it's going to be at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for this match. Okay. So I don't know what the hell going on. Oh, it is a title match. Okay. I mean, y'all probably ain't gonna like what I say, but give it to Candice and Indy. Let them walk around with the championships for a little while and split Bianca and Jay up. Let them go their separate ways amicably. I don't want to see one turning on the other or anything like that. As much as everybody want to see that, I don't. I feel like you could revisit that down the line. Give that some time to develop, and change. People gotta. I like to see my storylines be flushed out. I don't like it to be rushed, and I don't like it to be a bunch of mess. Make it so that it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But let Bianca and them drop that title. Let Jay and Bianca go their separate ways so you can spread out this roster some more. Because you got a lot of big names on the roster, but you don't have a lot of wiggle room moving on SmackDown. And you're going to need that time and that space. You feel me? So, anyways, this says they're going to be starting this show at 11 a.m., which leads me to believe that the show actually starts at 12 and not at 1, because Corey said it started at 1 today. Now, maybe this is a typo, but I don't know. So let's say the show start between 11 and see, it say 1 p.m. on this motherfucker. I don't know what the hell going on, but this, I got all of these came straight from the WWE website. That says 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, this could be a typo. Okay, it very well could be a typo because they just posted this up on the WWE website. And again, like I said, it could be a typo. This says the show starts at 1, which I know that it does. Okay, so maybe they start at 12 because there ain't no way they're gonna have 2 hours of a kickoff show for a Saudi show. Please. Anyways, we got a title match for the tag team championships, which is why the girls were on the cover advertisement for the posters going into King and Queen of the Ring. Everybody that was advertised on this poster, they're all competing at King and Queen of the Ring. That's what I was trying to tell y'all before y'all was losing y'all damn minds over a poster talking about Bailey not included, but she not gonna be there. She was not competing at King and Queen of the Ring, loves. So I wouldn't put you on my poster to advertise if your ass ain't gonna be competing there. I'm just saying now, shit. Now, Nia Jax and Lyra Valkyria won from their respective brands to be crowned the Queen of the Ring. And now we're going to see, because Lyra's got a big task on her hands going up against the going up against the massive force of Nia Jax. Okay, I'm trying to be nice. And Nia Jax is not going to have an easy win going over on Lyra Valkyria either. Just because she's small in stature doesn't mean that she won't be able to physically compete against Nia Jax. We've seen Nia compete with smaller women before, like women like Liv Morgan, and she does a good job with it. She is this time around. So Lyra Valkyria, while she may have a tall order, it doesn't mean it isn't an order that she can't fulfill. However, my mind is telling me that Lyra Valkyria is going to lose and Nia Jax is going to be your second ever Queen of the Ring, which, if I'm being honest, it's rightfully deserved. And she is the one who should go on to SummerSlam and compete against Bailey or whoever is champion during that time. I think Nia Jax has put in enough work to earn the right to be able to have a true title shot without any inhibitions or anything in her way or anybody in her way. She's earned it. She deserves it. And I say let her have a heel title run for a while. And then you can find somebody to take that title off of her. Whoever that is, we'll see. Yeah, Lyra's got some pretty vicious kicks. But like I said, she's going to put up a fight. Nia's going to have a good fight on her hands. Now, this one is probably going to be the most interesting. Randy Orton is not 100%. He has a knee injury, just like Bianca Belair does. And it's the same freaking knee. Both of them have the same freaking knee injury, the same twinge, okay? Now, in this case, I just told y'all, Gunther has been on this weird record roll where everybody he competes against either is injured before they come into the match or they get injured during the match. And that is always a recipe for disaster with him. He immediately targets that injury and takes them out completely. And I hate it, but Gunther is gonna be king of the ring. He's a weird ass looking motherfucker, but he's gonna be king of the ring, and he's going to SummerSlam to challenge the champion. If it is Damian Priest, which I'm assuming it will be, he's gonna challenge Damian Priest, and he's gonna stay champion for quite some time. Even after Seth friggin' Rollins comes back, he more than likely will still be champion. It's gonna be a long year. Moving on to the title bouts that we're going to see. There are 3 championships being defended at Jeddah. Okay. So let's start off with the women's match. Becky Lynch is defending her title against Liv Morgan. Now, on our podcast, which if you guys aren't listening to the pod, you definitely should. Down for the Count is available on Spotify, Apple, and Google, which Google is no longer in existence, I think. So scratch that. But anyways, Down for the Count is available for you guys to go listen. The podcast is going to go up today with our predictions for the show. And we also cover something else, which I really think you guys should take a listen to. But on that show, I picked Liv Morgan just to start some chaos. I think Liv is going to win in this particular match. I don't know why, but it is very possible. Becky Lynch could retain and they could stretch this out to Clash at the Castle or move it into Money in the Bank. But quite frankly, I'm just not interested in watching Liv and Becky argue with each other, especially if Rhea isn't due to come back until SummerSlam. I don't want to watch them wrestle for another 2 months. I'm sorry. But if Liv Morgan wins, then of course she's successfully completed her Liv Morgan revenge tour and we'll have what we need going into SummerSlam. Now, if she doesn't, then I don't know. But I would imagine that this would be her the peak of her story arc. She would be finally getting everything that she's ever wanted, I guess. Who knows? I'm gonna pick Liv to win this. If she doesn't, great. If she does, great. I'm just not invested in this as much as everybody else is. No shade. If you guys love it, you love it. If you don't, you don't. Oh, thanks, Tariq. I appreciate that. Anywho's, let's get into the secondary match or one of the other match for the Intercontinental Championship, the triple threat. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that if only two people I believe are going to win in this, well, no. I'll say it this way. The two people I know that are probably going to win are Chad Gable and Sami Zayn. I don't think Bronson Reed is gonna win, and if he does, I'll be surprised, honestly, because I feel like there is gonna be some nefarious shit going on here. Like with the Creed brothers, I think the Creed brothers are gonna help Gable win. If Otis doesn't get involved and help Gable lose or attack him, the Creed brothers might come out and attack Otis and take him down, which would lead to the Alpha Academy being rebranded through the Creed brothers. And that would aid and embed in a win for Chad Gable. But I think it would more specifically aid in the win for Sami Zayn. And then them going to Clash at the Castle, he would then win via the Creed brothers in that capacity. So I don't know, but I'm going to lean more towards Sami Zayn retaining his championship. Bronson Reed is probably going to be the one to get pinned in this case. And Chad Gable's going to cause some bullshit, but I don't think it's going to work out in his favor just yet. We'll put it that way. Final bout is going to be between the champ. The WWE Undisputed Champion Cody Rhodes is defending his championship against the current United States Champion Logan Paul. Now, Logan Paul changed the rules midway through this particular match. Originally, it was champion versus champion, but both championships were up for grabs. But Logan decided that he didn't want to put his championship on the line because obviously he doesn't have any that much trust in his own skill. But to hear him tell it, he was smart and just kept his title and he wants Cody's. Cody has no problem putting his title on the line because he knows that Logan Paul cannot beat him. And so the match has been changed. Cody Rhodes will face Logan Paul for his WWE Undisputed Championship, and the United States Championship will not be on the line. So Cody will not be becoming a Grand Slam champion at the moment. My money is on Cody Rhodes in this match, and if you pick Logan Paul, you're crazy. If WWE drops this title to Logan before Cody could even get the ball running as a champion, this will be the worst thing they've done in a while. I would never forgive them for that, which I don't think Triple H is going to do. So we're going to leave it at Cody Rhodes is your champion, and that is going to be your card for the King and Queen of the Ring tournament. Now, the respective king and queen get these crowns for their efforts in blowing through every opponent that they have gone up against in this tournament. And of course, for the champions and the people competing, they will all get to keep their titles or they have to be crowned new champions. With all that being said, the next PLE that we have to look forward to is going to be NXT Battleground. NXT Battleground is going to emanate from Vegas in the UFC Apex. And right now, they have the North American Women's Championship match. The ladder match is shaping up pretty decently. Fallon, Soul, Jada, and Lash have all qualified, and there are two more slots left. Tatum Paxley, Ren St. Clair, Kaylani Jordan, and Michin are all left to qualify in this particular match. I don't know who else is going to qualify, but if I were the one setting it up, I would put Michin in the match, and I would put, surprisingly, I would put Kaylani in the match. But to cause some discord, more than likely Tatum Paxley will qualify, and of course, Kaylani Jordan will probably qualify. Then it's been set in stone with Oba Femi and Joe Coffey and Wes Lee in the triple threat match for NXT Battleground for the North American Championship. All that's been set in stone, but hold tight because I have the graphic in here somewhere. Let's see if I could pull it up. I thought I put the graphic in my notes here, but I did not. And that hurt my soul, y'all. But anyways, I think NXT Battleground is going to be a really, really fun pay-per-view. I see it shaping up to be a lot of fun, but I'm curious as to who Trick Williams is going to go up against. I'm hoping it is Noam Dar, and I'm curious if they're going to have Tony D'Angelo defending his Heritage Cup in Battleground. I'm not sure, but it looks like they got a lot going on in NXT Battleground. Okay. I think Junior's asleep. So the graphic is here. I got it. June 9th, you will have a triple threat for the North American Championship, for the Men's North American Championship. Current champion, of course, is Oba Femi, former champion and one of the greatest champions of all time in Wes Lee. And Gallus' Joe Coffey has decided to enter into the fray. Now, Joe Coffey weaseled his way into this match through a triple threat that he weaseled his way into. The way that this match became a triple threat is that both men pinned Josh Briggs, and the ref gave the win to both of them. So Ava made the match a triple threat between Oba, Joe, and Wes Lee. Now, this match is probably the most interesting on the card outside of the North American Women's Championship. Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler have been in this weird ass alliance for the last couple of weeks. It all started at NXT Underground, where the very first time two women competed in the Underground match with Natalya and Lola Vice. Now, in this match, in Lola Vice's own element, she was on the brink of losing. So Shayna Baszler caused a distraction by choking out Carmen Petrovic, and that gave the distraction enough for Lola to be able to pick up the win. Shayna's biggest problem with Lola is that she doesn't take anything seriously enough to maintain her momentum. She got tired of the hip swinging, the dancing, the Latina fire. She was sick of it. So when they had this tag team match this past Tuesday, it was Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler versus Carmen Petrovic and Natalya. Natalya and Carmen was able to pick up the win by pinning Lola Vice. Shayna was visibly disappointed and was like, girl, let's go. Pick yourself up and get out of here. But instead, Lola Vice decided to attack Shayna as if it was Shayna's fault that they lost the match. And then to add insult to injury, after she hit the girl, she decides to start shaking her ass while she's laid out. Now she's on the apron on the outside of the ring, shaking her ass again. And this gave enough room for Shayna to come in and choke her ass out almost. The refs came in and forced her to break it up, to which Shayna continued the attack on Lola Vice and they began to fight. Now, Ava came out there and said, we're not doing this. Y'all want to fight? Y'all gonna fight in the ring at NXT Battleground. And Shayna was like, oh, no. We're not fighting in a regular match. It's gonna be NXT Underground rules. And then she started fighting the girl again. And I was like, that's what your ass get, Lola Vice. You always in here doing some stupid ass shit. You put yourself in dumb situations and then want to talk about how people steal opportunities. The opportunities that you have been afforded, you squandered. So whatever you get, I hope this ass whooping teach you a lesson. Only shake your ass when your opponent is down for the count, not when they just laid out. Now, NXT Battleground is going to be on June 9th on Sunday. And it say it's at 4 p.m. Pacific time. But I want to say it'd be around, it should be around 8 our time. Okay. So we shall see. Now, there's a couple more pay-per-views that I want y'all to remember. Clash at the Castle and Smackdown will emanate from Glasgow, Scotland on Saturday, June 15th for Clash at the Castle and on Friday, June 14th for Smackdown. Okay? This show is going to be different. They're going to start booking Clash at the Castle probably within the next couple of weeks, and I guarantee you that CM Punk aka Phil is going to rear his head at Clash at the Castle because Drew McIntyre is not missing that shit for the world. So all this probably is going to be one of the turning point pay-per-views that you should not want to miss. All right. Now the next one is going to be Money in the Bank. And then you're going to have NXT Heatwave. That is all in the same weekend. So you have SmackDown in Toronto, Money in the Bank in Toronto, and you have NXT Heatwave in Toronto, I believe. So all three of these shows are going to emanate from Toronto. You're going to have a lot going on in that weekend, and that all happens the weekend of July 5th, right after the 4th of July. So Thursday is going to be 4th of July. Then you got SmackDown, Money in the Bank, and NXT Heatwave. That's a long 4-day weekend, y'all. It's going to be a long 4-day weekend, but it's going to be a fun one. Okay. Now, Money in the Bank is always a fun pay per view. All right. It's always a good time. So, my thing is, I usually cannot wait until after because Money in the Bank always is fun. And I like the way they set it up. So, I hope that they have 8 opponents in these matches instead of just 6. And I hope that we have a good mix of people in the Money in the Bank ladder matches. And I hope that we get some new winners so we can open up some fresh things and make this fun. Okay? Now, after Money in the Bank, we get a little bit of a break, but not very long because SummerSlam comes to us on August 3rd. All right? So SummerSlam is set for August 3rd, and everybody's going to be showing up for SummerSlam, okay? Everybody and their mama is going to be at SummerSlam. It's going to be a big one. Logan Paul probably is going to be ending up being the big hero in this particular one. And of course, you're going to have Cody. Maybe by then, Rhea Ripley and Seth freaking Rollins will be ready to come back. Maybe I think by then CM Punk definitely is going to be cleared and there, so he's going to be showing up. You're going to have a lot of things happening at SummerSlam this year. So SummerSlam is going to be a can't miss PLE as well. All right. Now, the final PLE that's been announced for this year that we know of is Bash in Berlin, and that happens 3 weeks after SummerSlam. So Bash in Berlin is going to be in Berlin, Germany on August 31st this year at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Okay. This is a new pay-per-view, but it is an overseas pay-per-view, which we've had a lot of overseas pay-per-views this year. But I like them because the crowds are different. It makes it fun, and they're very much into it, and I can appreciate that. We as Americans are spoiled little brats. And we don't always react to everything the way that the international crowds do. Okay. To quote you, Lola, all you had to do was leave. Fair. Are you going to SummerSlam? No. The tickets for SummerSlam are ridiculous. Like they want $2,000 for almost nosebleed seats. And while I know that you can get pretty decent tickets once the show actually comes and it's set up and like you have like a day, the day of, you can buy better tickets. My biggest issue is comfortability, and I have to be comfortable and my family has to be comfortable. So because of that, I cannot go to the arena. I was gonna get a box. I was gonna get a Lowe's box, but it's expensive. They want like $10,000 to $12,000 off top, and that do not include food. I was like, oh, my heart. Now, speaking of SummerSlam, it was announced earlier that SummerSlam is going to go to 2 nights in 2026. And Minneapolis has won the right to host SummerSlam next year. And it's going to be on August 1st and August 2nd. I mean, not next year, but in 2026. So 2 years from now, SummerSlam is going to go to a 2 night brand, very similar to WrestleMania. SummerSlam is gonna be exhausting. It's gonna be exhausting, bitch. Oh, we gonna be so tired. Like after we watch WrestleMania, it's gonna be so weird to watch it. You know what I mean? But anyways, so that is everything. That is all the news. That is everything that I got, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So make sure that you guys bring your butts right back here tomorrow after King and Queen of the Ring, because I will go live and talk about it right after it airs. And of course, they do the press conference, which I always miss because I'm always in here talking to y'all. But we'll talk about it and then we'll see where it's leading us in terms of the next PLE in the next couple of weeks in terms of storylines and what's going to happen with all of that. Okay. So, with all that being said, you guys have a great night. Get your beauty rest. And don't forget that King and Queen of the Ring is coming from Saudi. So, it is going to be on midday. Around 12 and 1 is when the show is going to start. All right. Don't forget that. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.